Hi guys, Claudia Boleyn here. Today I'm filming on a new camera because my old camera has unfortunately died, so I've had to figure out how to set it up. Also, the colour in here is so bland today and I'm gutted, and I don't know if it's because of the camera or just because it's a dull day. I've got a light over here, I don't know if the lighting's weird. I'm probably going to up the saturation, so if this is super bright coloured then that is why. So yes, hello from me on the new camera. So you will not have had a video for 2 weeks. I have still been attending my group, it's just that I have had issues with the camera and I've had to replace the camera and find a way to, well, find a way to replace the camera basically. So it was unfixable unfortunately. There is a fly over there. See how bad my attention span is today, it's so poor. But yeah, I've been to Grandma and Granddad's for lunch as per usual, and I'm here to update you. You will get videos from the other 2 weeks because I made little phone videos to myself about my thoughts, and I'll go through the worksheets and that kind of thing with you. So you'll get those after this. It'll be a bit weird, but I've got my exam next week, so I'm not gonna do next week. So I will be missing one, but that's the only one that we're gonna miss. It's just gonna take a little bit longer to get them to you, but have patience, my friends. That fly is oh my god, I'm gonna need to open this window, but I'm scared the DIY noise is gonna it's gonna disrupt everything again, but I'm gonna try. Give me a second. Okay, I'm back. So today was week number 14, and I shared another continuum today, and it was the first continuum where I've spoken to you about these continuums being mapping our progress up to a 5, so the period of really high emotion, and the aim is to be able to get ourselves from a 5 down to like a 3 again, because obviously we need to deal with the really big emotions before we can then problem solve in our lives. So I actually had an experience of that this week where I did do that. I hit a 4, and then instead of going up to a 5 I managed to use my distancing techniques and challenging and all that kind of stuff, and I came back down to a 3, and it actually felt amazing. So it felt really good to share that with the group today. So yeah, I felt really proud of myself, which is ridiculous because I'm sure it's something that people do all the time who don't have stuff like EID, but yeah, it's a big thing for us. So this is going to be a bit weird because I have missed 2 weeks, so you'll get it in the wrong sort of order, but basically we've just been kind of just getting used to the skills that we've already learned. We did something last week about setting goals, so we basically did a questionnaire to see which parts of our lives we needed to change, and this is in terms of not just our emotional stuff that we've been doing in other weeks, but in terms of just normal stuff to be healthy, so like food and exercise and just getting out there and doing leisure activities if we can, which obviously that kind of thing is tough for me to navigate because I have this thing where, you already know, that I get so anxious and I get really panicky that I can't go somewhere unless I'm with a family member or like a really close friend, but it has to be like a really close friend. I just can't be on my own, which it still feels humiliating in a way to be 25 and to be like that. I still get panicky, like it's so ridiculous, but I still get panicky if I'm at the supermarket with my mum, which has taken me ages to be able to do, and I can only do it with her. And then I lose her in an aisle, and I still get those feelings of, oh my god, I'm on my own, I'm gonna panic, oh my god, I can't cope. And I know where that all comes from. Like, through this process I've learned about why I feel like that and why I get so scared of being helpless and like being on my own and what those fears are, and it's rational in terms of like my life experience, but obviously it's not something I need in my life now, so yeah, that went off on a tangent, didn't it? But anyway, yeah, leisure activities. I don't really do much leisure because I don't go out of the house really unless I'm with my family. So the only leisure I really do outside the house is if my friend will like take me out sometimes. And I actually saw my friend last week, which was lovely, so it was nice to go and see her. And she's always like good to talk to, and it's nice to chat to someone who has similar like experiences, because we went to the same school, and obviously with Dan not being here because he's away at university, although he'll be home soon, it can feel really lonely. And when I talk about like social media stuff and how I think social media isn't all bad, I think that for people in a situation like that, like me, like that is how I connect to my friends. And I think for everyone, when your friends are all over the place, it's a nice way to connect with your friends and stay in touch, especially so if you're someone like me who has panic attacks and can't leave the house. It's nice, you can just Skype your friends or text them or just do things from inside the house and interact with people online, and that's really nice, and I think that's quite healthy. Anyway, so the options here are, I will get into this in another video when I actually cover this, but so it's relationships, eating, abuse avoidance, sleep, exercise, physical health, leisure and money management. So In the other video I will go through all of these individually, don't worry, but the 3 that are my top ones are exercise, eating and leisure. Exercise is an especially big one for me because of my personality and how I can get quite obsessive over things, and also how I go through periods of like not looking after myself in terms of like getting suicidal and not caring if I live or die. It means that I don't necessarily look after myself in ways that other people would, like exercising. Eating. You know, I go through long periods of times when I'm low where I don't eat. Like, I literally have to be reminded to eat because I just don't remember to do it. I just get so low, I just don't think. And it sounds ridiculous saying that to you, but that is the situation, so that's hard. And I have loads of issues with food and have done throughout my life, which I kind of, for a while people thought, oh, maybe like I had anorexia or something, but I've never not eaten in order to lose weight, but it was essentially the same thing of like starving myself, because it's kind of ties into my mental health stuff, because it's like, you know, when you get like, I don't know if it's psychosis, but you know, when you get irrational thoughts, and I used to like make bargains, and I used to be so like, I will put crazy in quotation marks just because that's how I would talk about myself in that state. That's like the easiest way, but I don't use that for other people. I'm not saying that it's craziness, but yeah, it was like I used to have these weird bargains in my mind, like, I'll be okay, I'll get through the day if I just don't eat, or if I don't do this or don't do that, then it's fine. And I used to write letters to God and all sorts of stuff, which is weird because I'm not religious, but yeah, my brain was like that because I just couldn't cope, and I was a kid, and then I was a teenager, and yeah, I couldn't cope, so my brain did weird stuff. And that really impacted on eating, and also because of mental health stuff also can affect you physically, and mine makes me feel really ill. So you get into a cycle sometimes where you have stress, and so you feel sick because of the stress, and then you don't eat because you feel so sick, and then you feel worse because of not eating, like you feel more sick, and then you lose energy because you haven't eaten, and then your mental health gets worse, and so it's a spiral which is really hard to get out of. So one of the things that I've got to try and do is try and learn to eat a little bit more regularly, or if I can't do that, like at least eat more healthily. I need to be eating healthy food. So if I am not eating much, I need to make sure the food that I do eat is good for me in terms of mentally, because I've never been someone who has really thought much about healthy eating, you know. We've never really like had that as a thing in our family, like we've not really done that. I know some people are great and they like eat their 5 fruit and veg a day, but I just never have done that. Ever. It just wouldn't be like normal in our family. I can't even imagine someone getting that much fruit and vegetables in a day. But obviously it does have benefits, like it is a real thing, of course. It is good for you to eat healthily, especially for your mental health, and that's something that I think about a lot more these days and that the group's encouraging. So yeah, healthy food, fruit and vegetables, healthy body gives you a healthy mind, and if I feel better physically, then I'm gonna feel better mentally. Exercise is kind of like the hardest one for me, I think. Like the food one is hard, like I scored highly on that. Because I just do struggle with food so badly. Like, I'm okay if I've got, like, my mum with me or I've got Dan with me or someone, but sometimes I just, like, food gives me, like, the horrors. It's really hard. I'm really weird with my food like that. But, yeah, with exercise, I go through periods where I just don't look after myself at all. So I just, like, won't exercise. I just won't leave. I don't leave the house anyway, but what I started to do when I'm healthy is, like, I do yoga in the house and I do hooping in the house, and recently I got a cheap, small exercise trampoline for our garden, inspired by, like, this therapy group, because I thought it would be a good way in the summer for me to just, like, exercise while I'm in, like, a safe place, like our garden, and it would be private, and it's a good way for me to be healthy. So that's something I can do, like, within the house, because with this group, I'm learning to think around problems. Like, instead of thinking, oh, I'm stuck in the house, unless I've got someone with me, I can't do anything, I'm thinking, okay, well, what things can I do while I'm here? Like, how can I help myself while I'm here? Until I deal with that situation, which I will deal with, by the way. Like, I'm convinced that because I'm making such progress in the group, that I will make progress and be able to do all those things that I should be able to do, and I'll have my freedom and my independence. I'm sure that will come. But in the meantime, I've got to look after myself. So yeah, yoga and trampolining, and I say trampoline, it's like a very small trampoline, there'll be no tricks on this, it will probably break. And also dancing, because I really like dancing. Like, we don't have much room to dance, but I will find a way. I've recently been learning the dance to GUI by Lady Gaga, which is such an underrated song, and I don't know why it didn't chart higher in this country. It's so good. But yeah, I've been learning that dance on and off, because I'm revising at the moment. Like, as I said, I'm not going to group next week because I've got my exam, so in between, like, study periods, I am doing Lady Gaga dance tutorials, which is quite fun. But again, it ties into like my obsessive nature. Like that's the problem with my exercising, is that like on the plus side, like yeah, I do those things, but I have to be careful I don't go too far with it, because I have used exercise as self-harm before, where I just like over exercise, and it's like a substitute for self-harm, which I didn't even realise was a thing until I realised it was a thing. That was a smart thing to say, wasn't it? And I'm actually finding that's the same thing with my revision as well, so I'm trying to make sure I take breaks, because once I set my mind on something, like I become very obsessive over it, and at the time I think that's a way that I'm dealing with my problems, but it's actually really not helping me deal with my problems at all. So something we did today was a setting goals worksheet, where we chose like a simple goal, and we're gonna be able, once we've done one, we'll be able to set ourselves other ones. So we just picked any that we wanted to do, like a small achievable goal, because I think we were saying in the group, and like I agree with this, that if you set yourself like this huge vague goal for the future, you feel like you failed if you don't reach it like immediately. So you want to set yourself a goal where you're going to be able to see it actually changing and helping you like within a week or something, because otherwise you'll lose motivation or you'll feel sad, and if something goes wrong, then you know what it's like, you feel like you're a failure, don't you? I make plans and then I don't do them, and then I think I'm a failure, and then I just get more sad and I don't do anything. But yeah, mine is simple, and it is to do with exercise, because I do think that moving around more will help me mentally and kind of get me out of that space. So mine is that I want to do 30 minutes of exercise every day. So I don't mean like necessarily like intense exercise or anything like that, and I've limited it to 30 minutes rather than saying I want to exercise every day, because I am obviously someone who goes too far with stuff, and yeah, I just take it too far and get too obsessive over it, and then yeah, it's not good and it takes up too much of my headspace. So 30 minutes of exercise per day, and it is doable. So it says here, how will accomplishing the goal help me? So I put that I'll be physically stronger, more confident, I'll have more energy and enthusiasm that I can apply to my studies and my writing. So I still have another year of my course to do next year, but I've got a lot of reading to do over the summer, and I want to do my best for that. And I think if I'm more physically active, then my brain will hopefully be a bit better as well, be able to concentrate more. Is the goal realistic and achievable? I think it's realistic to say I can get 30 minutes of exercise a day, but I'm also allowing myself, like with this, every so often there's a day where like I don't, like if there's a day where I'm really low or something gets in the way, I'm not going to punish myself. I'm just going to say to myself, I'm going to try my best to do it, and I'm going to try and stick to it, but I'm not going to punish myself if I don't. So are there any obstacles to reaching my goal? I suppose the obstacles are just like staying motivated when I'm having like a really low period, because when I'm like really hypermanic, it's easy and I exercise a lot anyway, but I over-exercise like I said. But yeah, when I'm really low, you don't really want to exercise, so on days like that I thought I could just do like really like gentle like yoga and stretches and things like that. So it says here, who else will know that I've reached my goal? And I suppose like my family and like my mum, but I kind of feel like for me, that doesn't really apply to me, because I don't want to do it for other people. I feel like one of my problems is that I feel like I have to like prove myself to people and show that I'm valid and have worth, and kind of prove that I have worth. And yeah, I have that like perfectionism, and I kind of need, it's not necessarily like validation, but I need other people to be proud of me and to think well of me, I think, because I know for a load of reasons when I was growing up, like in some ways I felt like I just wasn't good enough at all, and it's kind of stuck with me that now I feel like I have to be good enough all the time. So I'd feel bad if I didn't achieve the goals and other people knew about it, and I'd feel ashamed even if they wouldn't care. So for me, I've just put that like this is for myself. Like I don't need validation from anyone else. Like I will know, and that's what matters. Like I'll know if I achieve this, and that's what I'm trying to aim for. I need to do this for myself. Like this has to be something I do for myself, not for other people. That applies to the whole process, not just to like this exercise thing. Like I need to learn to do things for myself, and like to live for myself essentially, like to have my own goals and dreams and know that it's possible, and not try to please everyone all the time, because that's a problem I have, which again doesn't marry very well with my personality traits, which are that I can be quite opinionated, and I do believe in like speaking up about things, and that comes directly into contrast with this awful low self-confidence when it comes to like what other people think of me. So it's like a horrible mixture, which is difficult. I feel like also being online as well, like especially in recent years, it's hard because you have to kind of, it's like you have to kind of like like you have to stand by everything you do and you say, and like I believe 100% in accountability. I'm not talking about that. I just mean in terms of like, you get random people now because it's the internet, like, you just, like, tweet something like a meme, and I'm not talking offensive stuff, like, obviously, like, this doesn't apply to offensive things, like, if someone does something offensive, then everyone has, like, a right to call it out, that's not what this is about, but I just mean, like, how just, like, a random person you don't know will, like, comment on a tweet or something, and that's, like, really common, and I actually love that most of the time, like, people are really nice, it's nice to know that people around, like, can connect with you from all over the place, but sometimes it just kind of, like, it can feel a bit odd, can't it? It's a weird thing about our generation that you, like, you can put something on Twitter and then you get people you don't even know being, like, you know, questioning you and that kind of thing, and sometimes you get real assholes and things like that, and it's just, it's weird, so you feel like you have to kind of explain yourself, and I'm kind of learning that I don't have to do that, unless it's obviously something offensive. Like, if it's something offensive, then of course I would, you know, apologise and be like, okay, I'll do better, because I do believe in that. But yeah, when it comes to the normal stuff, we're in, like, a really weird culture right now. I think there's that feeling, isn't there, that, like, if you put something online and then you don't get any likes on it, and because we're in this generation, like, it feels like, oh, no one cares, oh, okay, that I shouldn't say that, I should take it down. That's what I used to think, like, but now I kind of think, well, no, no, why would I, you know, I'm not doing it for other people's validation, so that's kind of how I'm trying to live my life, really, just try and live it for myself, because I've spent too much time in my life living for other people and trying to be something, and it just never works. Like, you can only be yourself and be as kind as possible, but you also have to have boundaries, and you have to have, like, that respect for yourself, and I'm trying to slowly build that up in my life. God knows where this has gone, this conversation I'm having with you right now. I'm sure it's not part of what we were talking about, but yeah. What will others notice about me when I've reached my goal? So I've just put that I think I'll probably be more confident, and I'll be healthier, more motivated, and I'll be able to focus more. So ideally, when my mum gets home from work, she'll see me looking bright and happy and fully dressed, you know, and not in my pyjamas, and doing my studies, you know, after having had a productive day. So the other one is, the last thing on here is overcoming procrastination, which I procrastinate so much, and I know that this is, I mean, loads of people do this anyway, it's not exclusive to mental health stuff, of course, but I think especially for us with, like, the mental health issues, we procrastinate because sometimes it's hard to think about certain issues, so our brain automatically takes us somewhere else, which is healthy. Like, it's a healthy way of responding to trauma or something really stressful, but then when it comes into other aspects of your life, it's so unhelpful, but your brain's learned it, so you do it anyway. So it's like you avoid things that are important. Like, for me with my course, I work really, really hard for my course, but when it comes to, like, writing up an essay or something, I will say to myself, oh, I'm going to plan it, I'm going to plan it, I'm going to plan it. But actually sitting down to do that, it takes me a good few hours to even start, because I'll be like, oh, okay, I'll just check Twitter, or, oh, I'll just see what's going on here, or I'll just look on the TV or something like that. And before you know it, the time's gone and it's my stress reaction is taking me somewhere else. So I need to face my problems and also not be afraid of stress. That's the thing. I'm afraid of stress, and I shouldn't be afraid of stress, because sometimes stress and anxiety is healthy and it can make us achieve our best. I'm just going to keep telling myself that because I've got my exam next week and I'm going to be going out of my mind with stress, especially because I'm such a perfectionist. Like, I'm still going for that first. I want the first so badly, and it's just about achievable, but it's looking like it's probably going to be a 2-1. It depends on how well I do in this exam, I guess, but a lot's riding on it. But I'm just telling myself that the perfectionism in me needs to, like, stop, or it needs to change. Like, I don't need to be getting perfect grades. I just need to know that I'm doing my best, which is another form of being perfect, I guess, isn't it? Like, my perfectionism saying I need to do well should not be grades focused. It should be my own effort focused. So as long as I know I've done my best, I need to be pleased with that. And if the questions aren't right on the day for me, I know that I've tried my best and I know I couldn't have done more. So that's my new version of perfectionism. I'm sure I'm not supposed to be, like, finding new ways to be a perfectionist. I'm supposed to be not being a perfectionist anymore, but it's slow steps. So that's kind of it. Over the week, we have to kind of put this into play. So I think it will be quite easy for me this week because I've got basically all I've got to think about is revision for a week. So I will be taking study breaks. So it will be easy for me to remember to do exercise during the study breaks. By the end of the week, who knows, I might have the entire GUY dance. It'll be perfect by that point. It'll be amazing. Okay, I love you loads. I will see you really soon. Hopefully this will be up on time. If not, I mean, sorry, whenever you're seeing this, but you will get a full set. So yeah, I'll see you later. And yeah, I've got revision to do. And and then I'll be able to make much more videos after the revision's done, because I'm going to have some free time over the summer. Okay, I love you loads, I hope these are helping you, and yeah, I'm sorry for the break, but my camera died, so there's nothing I could do. Okay, I love you loads, see you really soon, bye!